Today, we're looking at the best decks in the Pokemon trading card game in April 2023. There are new cards, new mechanics, and a standard format rotation with the release of the brand new sets Scarlet and Violet. New cards like the ones you see here on screen, and plenty of others are going to be played in new decks. You can check out my recent videos on the rotation and also the best cards from Scarlet and Violet on my channel. New mechanics like terastallization. We'll see this Arcanine EX has that Terra tag up top that says, as long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. That is featured on all of the Terra cards as of now. Also new is that Pokemon tools are now their own type of card instead of being considered an item card. And of course, the standard format rotation. We lost all cards with the regulation mark D, as you see here on Marnie, Scoop Up Net, and Aurora Energy. You can check out my recent video highlighting the best cards that are gone from standard format and the best way to replace them. Before we get into the top 10 decks, shout out to intotheam.com. Amazing graphic designs on t-shirts. Use my link or code to check out some of their awesome apparel. Dragon Shield sleeves, my favorite kinds of sleeves to use. You could use my affiliate link to support my channel. When purchasing Dragon Shield, I have both the US and EU web shop links. And PotownStore.com, the best place to get your PTCGL code cards. Use code CELIO for 5% off. And now, starting at number 10, we've got Rapid Strike. This is featuring Rapid Strike Inteleon VMAX and Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. There are a few different Rapid Strike Pokemon you can also try to include in here, but these are the most popular and most successful thus far for this archetype. The Inteleon VMAX has the ability Double Gunner. You can discard a Water Energy to put 2 damage on 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This is really good against Lost Zone decks that have low HP Pokemon, because then you can use Medicham V's Yoga Loop to knock out and take an extra turn. And Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX has a lot of HP, and it has 2 great attacks in Gale Thrust and Gmax Rapid Flow. Here's my sample list for the Rapid Strike deck, and I will also leave a Google Drive with a bunch of post-rotation decks in there, over 100 different post-rotation deck lists in the Google Drive. But as online events start taking place on play.limitlesstcg.com with the new set, there's going to be an abundance of new creations and new deck lists to check out over on play.limitlesstcg.com in the coming days. Number 9 is Sableye Charizard Lost Zone, commonly known as Sablezard. So this is the lesser of the Lost Zone variants at the moment, but I think it's still pretty good. It can consistently try to get turn 2 Lost Mines with Sableye, thanks to cards like Pokestop and Lost Vacuum, making it a little bit faster than the other decks that have more options and Mirage Gates and stuff. So this is really low on energy, just 4 Psychic and 2 Fire, and it gives it space for all the extra consistency tools, as I mentioned: Pokegear, Trekking Shoes, Pokestop, Lost Vacuum to accelerate your Lost Zone faster than the opponent, things like that. So this is kind of in the shadows right now compared to the other Lost Zone decks, but I think it's still worth noting. Number 8 is going to be Arceus Duraludon. Now, Arceus Duraludon is still a good kind of beat stick deck. It just sets up, swings 220 through everything, has the ability Skyscraper, which is going to be annoying, has 330 HP, which is annoying, has no weakness on the Duraludon VMAX, which is going to be annoying. Here's our sample list for Arceus Duraludon. Now, the quote good Duraludon V has rotated out of format, so now we are left with the Dragon type one that doesn't reduce damage being dealt to it. But other than that, not too much has changed for Arceus Duraludon. Number 7 is another Arceus deck, Arceus Giratina V-Star. This actually got second place at a recent Asian event, and had other scattered placements throughout the top 16 and top 32. This is another deck similar to Arceus Duraludon, just a very good beat stick deck, except its main attacker is Giratina V-Star, which does 280 damage. Has less HP than Duraludon, but also has that benefit of being Dragon type and having no printed weakness on the card. This deck is going to use Bibarel as its draw engine in addition to a bunch of supporters, and it has Drapion V to help combat Mew VMAX. Number 6 is going to be Miraidon EX with Regieleki VMAX. Miraidon EX, of course, being a brand new card from Scarlet and Violet with the ability Tandem Unit. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 basic Lightning Pokemon and put them onto your bench. This can be even used to get another Miraidon EX and then use another Tandem Unit. Photon Blaster 220, pretty good attack, but with those transistors from Regieleki on the bench, that can get up to 250, 280, 310 or higher. And also Regieleki V is a pretty great attacker. The first attack swinging for 30 plus switching out, and you'll typically be able to switch out into a Klefki, and the other attack doing 100, and then reducing damage dealt to Regieleki V next turn by 100. Another really important new card for this deck is Electric Generator, which can look at the top 5 cards of your deck and attach up to 2 lightning energy you find there to your benched lightning Pokemon. Number 5 is Lugia V-Star with the single strike package. Lugia V-Star is still around, and I think it is still a top 5 deck. It just looks a lot different now. We've got Tyranitar V and Stonejourner, both with the single strike tags, because the best energy that Lugia V-Star can make use of now is single strike energy, specifically on single strike Pokemon. This is for a couple of reasons. Obviously, a lot of special energies rotated out, but also this means you can use Urn of Vitality to get those single strike energies back. There's no energy recursion that's really useful for other special energies. You have Roseanne's backup, you have Silene, but those are supporter cards that get 1 to 2 Silene, sometimes 0 cards back a turn. Whereas Urn of Vitality is an item card, you can use it at any point, and you just get them right back into your deck without using a supporter. So that's a really nice bonus. And the Radiant Pokemon of choice for this deck, I believe, has consistently been Radiant Serena. I think that's the best choice because it will help you combat Lost Zone decks, spreading damage around, and could just come up in other scenarios as well, just healing 20 across your board. Number 4 is Mew VMAX Genesect V. There's not much to say about this. It's consistent. It's a beat stick. There's 2 ways to build it, either Mew VMAX with Meloetta or Mew VMAX without Meloetta. Either way, you're going to be playing Path to the Peaks in the deck. I kind of really like this version here without the Meloetta, that's using a high count of Path to the Peak and Lost Vacuum. Sorry, the image is a little blurry. This image was a smaller sized picture from I believe it was a Taiwan regional event. But I believe you guys can see the card counts and everything. The cards just look a little bit blurry. But really focusing on that Judge/Roxanne Path to the Peak strategy and playing a lot of Lost Vacuums so you can remove your own Path to the Peak if needed and then replace it when you're done using abilities for the turn. The thing about Mew VMAX is that it really doesn't like seeing a Drapion V with a Sky Seal Stone on the other side of the board, and we'll be seeing that in a deck in just a moment. Next is Gardevoir EX with the Psychic Embrace ability. As often as you like during your turn, you may attach a basic Psychic Energy card from your discard pile to one of your Psychic Pokemon. If you attached energy to a Pokemon in this way, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So you can accelerate technically as many energy as you want, as long as it won't knock out the Pokemon. So this is going to be paired with cards like this Zacian V with Storm Slash, and the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, which has the same exact attack as Zacian V. This is a 2nd place deck list from a major event in Japan. Using the Zacian V plus the 1 Sky Seal Stone, you'll see the 3 Shining Arcana Gardevoir, really important card for the deck. This deck is really fun to play. It's reminiscent of Zoroark GX decks, in my opinion. Also a little reminiscent of Zoroark GX with Gardevoir GX. Really nice deck to play with a lot of evolution going on, a lot of strategy going on, but it can falter to aggressive decks and slow setups on its own fault. Next, we have Lost Zone Giratina at number 2. And this number 2 and number 1 spot arguably can be interchangeable. I think Lost Zone Giratina is the most well-rounded deck that we have in the standard format. Sorry about that slight pause there. I don't know why my slides stopped working, but I think Lost Zone Giratina V-Star is the most well-rounded deck in the standard format. It's going to suffer against Lost Zone box decks that have not allocated all these slots to playing the Giratina package, but you're happy that you're playing Giratina against pretty much everything else, against the EX, the V-Star, the VMAX decks. uh, those all hate to see Giratina V-Star because Big Parasol has rotated out of the format, and it's very difficult to protect yourself from Star Requiem. And as I alluded to, the last deck that we'll look at, number one, is Lost Zone Mirage Gate box, using Radiant Greninja every time as its choice of Radiant Pokemon. Now, there are a lot of cards you can put in and out of this deck, but most of the cards you see here on screen are going to be consistent throughout all of the lists. Snorlax and Zamazenta are not going to be in every deck, but like I said, most of the rest of this deck will be consistent throughout most Lost Zone box decks you see. The basic energy types might change, a couple of tech attackers might change, but the goal is to accelerate to 7 or 10 in the Lost Zone, and then use Mirage Gate to set up any kind of tech attacker for the situation that you need. Use Cramorant and Sableye as your baseline attackers because they're very, very good. And those are the best decks in April 2023 for the Pokemon trading card game. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.